Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase, one preseason game in. Who's hot? Plus, what to expect at SoFi against the Saints on Saturday. And later, what will the Dean Connors hype lead to? And other wacky fan quesos. Let's rock!
Welcome to Rams Showcase.
And now, here's your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes! Welcome to Rams Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Bags. At Sheriff Joe Bags, at Rams Showcase, ramshowcase.com. That's where you follow along on the internet. Also, you can catch me live multiple times a week. Both horns. I am one of the horns. Tuna being the other one. That is streamed live on the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel and Rams Showcase Facebook page when they don't pull it. Pretty cool. I think they got me for copyright on the song that I wrote, which, come on, guys. We got a little too dicey with this. I didn't call in it. I'll call in the hit. All right. And before we get started here, I got rug pulled so hard, guys, and I'm very actually upset about it, but I'm not going to show any of those emotions here today. What I need, though, is 2 more tickets to the Rams-Broncos game. I've got Payo, Rams House, and Tuna coming out for that. We had 4 together, and I've been planning on these tickets since May, and then yesterday they were like, oh, those aren't even for sale. So now I hate somebody, so that's good news, but yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So looking for 2 more. I've scored 2 already. Now the 4 of us aren't going to be together, but that's fine. We'll still be getting, a good weekend of action in and stuff like that. But if you know somebody who happens to be selling any tickets to the Rams-Broncos game, please hit me up at Sheriff Joe Bags at Rams Showcase, because we are looking for tickets now. Yeah, I got rug pulled. Being about a month away from the game it's pretty harsh. I'll be honest. That's pretty rough. But it's okay. Things happen, man. So no big deal about it. Let's get into the action here, man. So obviously we did have one first preseason game in the book so far, as the Rams played at the Kansas City Chiefs this past weekend on Saturday. We got a couple of hot hands we're talking about for this one. Just some names to kind of keep an eye on as we continue through preseason. There was a lot of guys that actually did not play last week, and to my surprise, because I was sitting here telling you, dude, I'm watching for Mump. No Mump. He was sitting, man, which is good news for him. That means probably a contributor come regular season. We also didn't see 3 different running backs. Obviously, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, didn't expect to see them, but Ronnie Rivers also not being in the game. I think that's pretty telling. Grant Stewart didn't play in this game. Let me see who else. Tyler Davis was a sit as well. So I'll be honest, we don't have that many jobs open right now, and I think that we actually have less jobs open than we thought we had. There's not a lot of wiggle room for guys to get onto this roster, and I think that's part of why we are not. It's not necessarily the mindset going into preseason being like, yo, you're not going to play for us, so just play in these games, put on some tape, and do a good job. I think that is a benefit of having a team that you kind of know who the bulk of your squad's going to look like going into the season, and that is something that you can technically offer is like, dude, you're probably not going to make this squad. You're probably not just saying that. You're like, hey, who knows, man? Who knows? But obviously, it is a chance for these guys to get on a football field against other NFL players and put out some tape to the other 31 teams in the NFL. And sometimes it's that team that you're playing against. Sometimes you're playing in a preseason game and some guy smokes you and then he gets cut and you're like, actually, get on over here, man. Use some of that evil for us instead of against us. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that going on right now where there's a lot of guys playing that we're definitely not going to see come regular season, and a lot of guys that we're actually going to talk about here today that we're not going to see in the regular season, probably do not make the Rams roster. So let's get into some of those names. We're going to start with Nick Anderson, the safety. He looked absolutely solid out there. I thought he played real well in space. He made some good breakups. I think that was it, like the space. I think he covered a lot of space on the back end and really can't ask for a whole lot more than that. Obviously, the Rams safeties right now with guys like Quentin Lake, Captain Q. We got the Cams, Kinchins, and Curl, and also Tank. So obviously this is a hard room to break into. It's not impossible for sure, because obviously the way that the NFL is run now, it's not like the Rams on offense where we run a lot of 13. You're chilling in a lot of nickel and stuff like that. So you do have a lot of secondary players usually taking reps on Sundays. For any NFL team, you got to keep up. And that's like the Rams are like the one team. We'll probably see it a lot more this year. It's a copycat league and all that business, but we'll probably see a lot of teams not do nickel against us. But also all of our tight ends can catch. So that's actually how Seattle did a good job against the 13 is they stayed in nickel. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Maybe they know more. I don't know. But I think you get what I'm saying. Dean Connors, running back, had 2 touchdown receptions. He got through some arm tackles on a touchdown, and he just found a good spot on the other play as well. Put himself in a good spot for Mr. Ty Simpson to hit him on a couple of tuds. And obviously that's all you can ask for out of your backup running backs, your guys who are scraping and clawing to try to make the roster. But like I said, we had 3 running backs not even play in this game, and all indications are that Ronnie Rivers wasn't an injured player. Jarquez Hunter obviously played a decent amount in this game, and I think that's telling. We'll talk about him as we talk about the Saints game coming up this weekend. But Dean Connors, obviously, what we are hitting on is this Chiefs game, and Dean Connors looked awesome, man. He looked fresh, he looked fast, he looked strong, he ran hard, and that's all you can ask for out of these guys. A UDFA coming in and making a name for himself. So if I had to guess, I would say that Dean Connors does not make the Rams, but possibly can creep onto our practice squad unless he's got an opportunity at an actual active roster come week 1. And who knows? I mean, there's a lot of really good running backs in the NFL right now. That's why a lot of them don't get paid, because you're like, why would we pay $20 million for you when that guy will play for us for $10 million? You're only a little bit better than him, So there is like those kind of conversations maybe that's happening, you know what I mean? But I think for Dean Connors, he absolutely looked like a guy who, if he can continue doing that and he does get the endorsements from the coaching staff, I mean, coaches talk, players talk, all this stuff. I mean, if there's a situation where a team needs a running back, then call Sean McVay. Maybe it is Kyle or something like that. Call up Sean, or maybe we don't use a division opponent. Maybe it's Liam Cohen or something like that. Gives Sean a call, says, yo, how is this kid? And it's like, dude, we just straight up don't have room for him, but kid's a baller. That can get somebody signed. It's definitely a who you know kind of biz, and now we know Dean. So there you go, man. But interested to see what he does second week in a row. Next up, we're going to go with edge rusher Desjuan Johnson. Des Johnson. He looked awesome out there, man. He was relentless getting after the quarterback. I thought he was getting off of blocks real well. There was many times throughout the game that I was like, he is the best defensive player we got on the field right now. He looked like that. Very often he looked like the best player on the field, and it's really all you can ask for, especially in a preseason game. A guy that we feel like should figure into the rotation decently heavy. We obviously got, this dude, Byron Young, who's pretty good. We've got Josiah Stewart, pretty good. This newcomer, Myles Garrett, that figures to be an impactful guy. So we'll see how that all shakes, of course. But Des Johnson, I'm sure, is going to get plenty of action in there. I'm interested the fact that we saw him most of the game, but I fully anticipate that he does make the active roster. And then another name that I wanted to mention here is going to be quarterback Ty Simpson. You thought I just wasn't going to talk about it? Yeah, I thought it was just going to be Max Clare all day, dude. Well, not wrong. Max Clare did awesome. And by the way, killer out there. And I thought he tracked the ball well. I think that he did a great job on his routes. He had that one pass where he kind of looked, ball's already like right on his forehead. So just turned, got his hands up, caught the ball, spun out, just, was able to move the chains. So gotta love to see that stuff, man. But the guy getting them those balls, Ty Simpson, obviously he did a solid job. Not many guys come in your first preseason game and can look like that. Obviously, we don't overreact here. This is not an overreaction kind of show. But he didn't look bad. That's good. Stetson Bennett didn't look bad either. I see people ripping him. He was like 4 of 6 and like let us down on a scoring drive and stuff. I think everybody's a little too mad about that 3 and out to start the game, but I think we're just putting a little too much stock into that kind of stuff, But for Ty, obviously he went for deeper throws when underneaths were open, especially on some of those rollouts. Love to see that, man. That's something we see out of Matthew Stafford all the time. You kind of work your way down, you know what I mean? Like when you're on a rollout like that, you got kind of a flood concept going to one side. You obviously want to get as many yards as you can, but you're looking, you go, how's that deep guy looking? It's like, okay, he's got 2 guys back there. Maybe he's getting, shaded on this side. You got a safety over the top or something like that. Underneath guys, maybe you got a linebacker that's trying to make a decision here, and these are maybe UDFAs or something like that. linebacker underneath trying to cover the flat and making a decision of like, do I cover this flat or do I kind of back up, stuff like that. I only saw that on, I think, one of them, that it kind of looked like a just make a decision. And, it's like you kind of just stayed between them. And it's like, you got to pick somebody, I think, though. Maybe just pick the back guy so that you can still come up and make a tackle if we could throw short. I don't know, man. I played football for like half a year. I didn't get a lot of action. So I was like, I think I'm good. So I'm sick of killing myself all week just to stand here on the sidelines all week, man. But so either way, but that's what I like to see, man, is when you have the flat wide open, but you're still pushing it a little bit, man. Started letting it rip at 1.2. I saw the cannon was loose from Mr. Ty Simpson. So there was a few plays in there where he was just kind of stepping in and just absolutely rocketing those balls off, which love to see that, man. Had one to CJ Daniels across the side or across the middle where if CJ doesn't get his hands on that or kind of get weak hands on that where the ball is kind of bouncing, probably intercepted. Ball was around 3 defenders and just right here to CJ. Absolutely love to see that kind of stuff, man. Would love to hear from the secondary. I feel like this is what we don't get the whole time. This is what we don't get from preseason and stuff like that. I did a whole rant on the Chiefs broadcast, by the way, on both horns. I'm not going to reiterate all of that here, but it was a disaster. Just sidebar on that. But we get guys like Stu and JB and DeMarco and MJD and Jordan and Big Rob and stuff like that talking about these guys, talking about Ty and all that stuff. I would love to hear from some of the secondary players that he actually played against in his first preseason game to see what they kind of felt. Like, was there anything there where they were like, damn, I thought I had this guy covered and he put the ball in a good spot, or this receiver, I thought I had him, and then he broke off and I caught it late or something like that, or man, that guy's hard to stick to, something like anything like that, man. I like to hear from the defenders. We're obviously not going to get a lot of that. And when we do, it's not going to be like, that kid's pretty sick though, right? That kid you were playing, they're like, I guess, but like, we just try to do our best, man. So we're probably not going to get real answers there, but I've always wanted that, especially in preseason, of like hearing from those corners of like, dude, I thought I had him, and he put it in a good spot. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some really hilarious, like mic'd up moments after a crazy Stafford ball where they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like him talking about Aaron Donald ripping the ball, pulling his arms apart, ripping that ball out for that strip sack. And he's like, you gotta hold on to the ball. It's like, what am I supposed to do? I did everything you told me to do, stuff like that. But I think what I'm looking for Ty this upcoming week, and we'll of course talk about it here a little bit more in a moment, is just to see the fact that he did come in game 1 and looked really good. And it's still not something that we can overreact to, positive or negative, with what he did. For sure, we can't overreact to that in any capacity. One thing I am looking for, though, and again, we will not overreact to it, but it's something that I am watching for, is to see how that momentum builds from one week to another. Is he sitting in practice all week like, well, pretty damn good at this, huh? And then he's going to come in and get smoked on Saturday? Or is he like, all right, cool, yeah, I can do this. Let me take a little bit more risk this time. I'm feeling good, like I thought maybe I could have had a little bit more on that, or maybe I could have done this instead, So if I had to guess, because he's a first-round quarterback that Sean McVay wanted, if I had to guess, I'm sure he's got that fire where he wants to continue to get better. But again, we never know, man. The Jamarcus Russell and Cooper Kupp, those are my 2 examples all the time, which is Jamarcus Russell got drafted number 1 overall to the Raiders, and his whole thought process was, I've made it. Good to go, man. I've made it. We are here. We are in the NFL. Good to go. Whereas Cooper Kupp got drafted, was it 4th round out of Eastern Washington, and his mindset was career begins now. Now I'm a professional. Now they're paying me. Somebody drafted me to do this. They're writing me checks. Now it's time to really take it serious. Completely different mindsets. I'd like to see what Ty's is going to be, but I would imagine it's closer to the Cooper Kupp than Jamarcus Russell. At least we hope so. Moving on to some news here, just a couple of quick things that I wanted to hit on, which is going to be the Rams signing punter Jack Bouwmeester. This is an Australian punter, and likely means that we're just trying to sit Ethan Evans for the rest of the preseason. Probably just trying to keep that rocket launcher primed for Australia, which is cool news. But Australian punter, man, Jack Bouwmeester, Australian punter, which leads me to think, are we straight up pandering right now, dude? Are we pandering that hard to Australia? I don't know. I think I'm okay with it. But also, it's just one game, and they're going to forget that I don't know if they'll forget that we were over there. That'd be crazy. We'd be like, it's like, do you guys watch that game? It's like, what game? What are you talking about? That's probably not the case, but you know what I mean? Pandering just a little bit. Also, some transactions for you. The Rams did waive wide receiver Mario Williams. He did get hurt in that first game against the Chiefs, so it was with an injury designation. I was really excited to see Mario Williams and his progression, but I would imagine the fact that he got waived was due to his injury because the Rams quickly then signed wide receiver Alex Bachman. Bachman is actually returning to the Rams. So you might remember this name. He's a preseason name that we saw back in 2019. So after the Rams lost the Super Bowl to the New England Patriots that following season, we had Alex Bachman in the preseason. He was waived like early September though, so never made it to the squad. But I would imagine that with this move, it's a corresponding move. I think that what this news tells us is that we just, we're down our top four guys in preseason. And if we're losing guys to injury, well, we still need guys to play these games. You know what I mean? So I think that that's all it is. I think that Mario Williams probably wanted to keep him around, but it's like, if you can't play preseason, we kind of just need bodies for this. So we're going to waive you, maybe it's a practice squad thing, or maybe he gets picked up somewhere else. But I'm guessing that Alex Bachman was brought in because we need to get wide receivers in there. No Devontae, no Puka, no Jordan, and no Kanate in the preseason. Those guys are just resting up, getting ready for Australia, dude, getting ready for down under. And I'm guessing we just need guys to be able to get reps in there. So we don't have a ton of other wide receivers, you know what I mean? Except for like guys like Brennan Presley, who I imagine will get plenty of time, especially now. He's kicking butts, dude, on this last Saturday. It was absolutely awesome. We're just going to keep rolling here as basically we'll just go into our game talk. It's not a game preview, but we are taking on the Saints this coming weekend. Saints at Rams, 1 p.m. local time from SoFi Stadium. It's broadcast live on the ESPN app or NFL Plus, which is my chosen method of watching Rams preseason games. These are just practice, so I don't make the whole thing of it, like going out and stuff like that. Feels so unnecessary. I'll just watch here. It's no big deal. When they count, though, those are the big events, man. But this is just practice, so nothing too crazy there. Didn't go out or anything. Just chilled. But CBS LA local, that's going to be with JB Jordan and Big Rob, which is going to be fire because I'm guessing that this is going to be the broadcast that we actually get on NFL Plus. I'm really, 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 really hoping. I know that much because this last broadcast, like I said, with the Chiefs was an absolute disaster. And it's not that they did do a bad job, but I don't want to just sit here and rip them or anything like that, but like, I just feel like they treated the Rams like a nameless, faceless football team that the Chiefs happen to be playing. They didn't, it just feels like really good stuff to mention when, Ty Simpson, first round quarterback, is making his first reps and stuff. I know it's not your team. I know it's not the thing that you're covering, but it just feels like that's so necessary. You got to know your opponent a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, did they even know that this was the first time Ty Simpson was touching the field? Stuff like that. I saw a lot of people that were like, I didn't even realize that was him out there. Like, they didn't say anything because they were interviewing owner or something like that during that whole time. In these preseason interviews, I can't stand them. Even when they're ours, I just can't stand them because I'm just trying to watch the game. I don't want to know what these starters are like, what ridiculous questions are going to get asked to starters that they like. It's just going to be the most boring conversation you've ever heard. And it's like, so how's training and stuff? It's like, yeah, good. We're feeling good. Obviously, getting ready for the season, like guys are working hard, it's like, cool, man. Can we get some good content in here? Can we get some good questions, at least something like that, heavy hits that like can be at least meaningful and at all. But I realize too, it's not necessarily the forum to do all that. So I am being picky, but I do hate the interviews during a preseason game. Let's cut that out, man. Preseason broadcasts, they've dwindled. Don't want to hammer that too hard, though. A little bit of Saints talk for you. Some chatter around the Saints that they could be a team to make a pretty big jump this season from a year ago. Obviously didn't do a ton of damage last year, but that division's certainly gettable. And I've seen a lot of people start to think that, like, I don't know about it. Let's see if the Panthers are an actual, team that's going to stick around, or let's see if this was maybe just a really good year from them. I think that either option is truly possible. The Bucks, I think, are in an interesting spot. Obviously, you lose a guy like Mike Evans. That's obviously a detriment, but they still got some players out there, man. But I think overall, the Bucks, they're handling Baker extremely poorly, which is not good news. That's going to blow up in their face. They're probably going to have to draft somebody next year, stuff like that. Yeah, so they're a decent team, but, I'm not super high on them, I suppose. The Falcons, I'm not super high on them either. Obviously, you bring in Stefanski, who I think is about equivalent to Raheem Morris. That's why that move surprises me, to fire Raheem Morris and then bring in Stefanski. It feels a lot like going from Scott Linehan to Steve Spagnuolo. You know what I mean? Represent to everybody who completely understands exactly what I'm saying there, where it's like, does it matter? Are we getting better? Or are we just trying out guys, So that's kind of how that move feels to me. And then I just don't think that they have their quarterback situation figured out. I'm not sure if Penix, I've not seen enough to be like, yeah, he for sure, he can handle it. But also haven't seen enough to be like, he sucks. So I just think he's fine. That happens. A lot of players in the NFL are allowed to just be fine. But when it comes to the Saints, obviously a lot of their season is going to depend on Tyler Shuck this year, their quarterback. That won't have any impact on this matchup, of course. It's just preseason, but it will be kind of interesting to see that division unfold because it is wide open. It does feel like any of those four teams, realistically, you could make an argument that any of those four teams can win that division. And you can also make an argument that any individual of those four teams is going to be god-awful and be picking, in the top 3 of the draft. So either is an option, I think, for any of those teams. And I feels like everybody's going to end at 8 and 9, and it's just going to be tiebreakers to figure it out. So there's that. What to expect out of this game? QBs handled the same way. Kind of sounds like Sean mentioned that we should see Bennett start again and then Ty take over for the rest of the game. Makes perfect sense. Obviously, to get Ty a start, I think would be nice. Get him out there right away. Get him to just, get that rhythm going of just, this is how it is when you're the number one guy, which I do think would happen the last preseason game. Certainly a possibility. We'll be on the road, but at SoFi Stadium, so it's okay. But I think that's a reasonable time to just be like, it's Ty's game. You're good, man. It's all day. You're the quarterback. You're good. So I don't think that's impossible, but it does sound like Stetson Bennett will be getting that probably the one drive. And if I had to guess, that was the plan, is to give Stetson Bennett one drive. But when they were 3 and out, probably we're just like, let's give him one more. That was bogus. Let's get one more in there. Had a miscommunication with CJ Daniels on a route, stuff like that. It's like, let's go ahead and knock out one more, which he did well. It was like a 12 play drive, I want to say, that ended up in 3 points. So not a ton of complaints on that end, but I imagine that's kind of what happened there, is that the 3 and out kind of changed that. And then reasonable to assume also that quarterback Matthew Caldwell will get no preseason reps. Totally reasonable to expect that. A likely cut. Probably not a practice squad guy if I had to guess, since we do have the 3 on roster, and likely keeping those guys. I mentioned it a little bit, but a lot more sitting than we usually do. And that is just a testament to how sick this football team is right now. We saw, obviously, the Rams not play starters for the last X amount of years. Pretty much since Sean McVay has shown up, we do not play our starters in preseason. But now we are seeing depth pieces not play either. I think it's telling. No Mump, no Witt, no Stewart, no Tyler Davis. I'm starting to feel like the Rams might have like 3 jobs open right now, and we don't even really know what they are. I think that Jarquez is probably fighting for a job. I think that Xavier might be fighting for a job. I'm not entirely sold on that, mainly because he did get some offensive reps. I think he had the 4 receptions, but he was the punt returner the whole day, and I'm not sure if that means anything. What does it mean, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So, but yeah, it's there's not a ton open right now. We definitely know who all of our starters are. There's no starting jobs that are up for a battle at this time, and mostly our backups are figured out too. I think that it really is just like, you probably get, because we're going to have 53, we probably have 49 guys that we already know are making the squad, and then probably just a few others where we're like, well, let's see who jumps out. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy there, but it feels a lot like we only got a couple of jobs left, and we're watching a lot of guys play football for the Rams right now in these games that we are not going to see ever again. Not intended to be shade, okay? I promise. But I'm not saying anything bad about the guys we do have playing in preseason games. I am only hyping the guys that we don't have playing in preseason games because those guys are awesome, and that doesn't mean that these guys are bad or suck. These guys are just awesome as hell. These guys are Hall of Fame level players. Myles Garrett, Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean these guys are bad. These guys are just impeccable. So who to watch? Of course, quarterback Ty Simpson. Big time Ty Simpson. This is going to be the case for all the preseason, of course. Looks strong in his first outing. I'm curious to see how he plays, having had a week of hype, a good game and a week of hype. That needs to go on a shirt. A good game and a week of hype. I don't know where I can use that, but that's going to be a metaphor for something that I'm going to use probably too much. So I like that, though. A good game and a week of hype, dude. That can do wonders for a guy. That's cool. I'm a big fan of that. But yeah, for Ty, obviously, we just want to see him just be comfortable, man. Just get out there, continue to do what you're doing, man. Try some stuff out. I almost want to see him take a few more risks. Let that thing rip, dude. If these don't count, man, throw some interceptions. Who cares? We don't need to win these games. They are not going to be like, you can't. Hold on. You won the NFC Championship? No. You lost to the Saints back in August. Don't think we forgot that. Get out of here. You know, like that's not a real thing. So I think we should be okay. Just let it rip, Ty. Let that thing rip. So good stuff. Next up, I am going to go with running back Dean Connors. Obviously, a strong outing in first game. Uphill battle to try to make the roster, though. But I would say he's making a case so far. It's really all you can ask for. But I also, I feel like it comes off as trash talk, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But it does feel like Dean Connors is the guy, the preseason hype guy for the Rams in 2026. Seems like we've always got one. Usually it's a wide receiver. This time it happens to be a running back, and I'm pretty sure that's Dean Connors. And again, no shade, no trash talk intended here, but there's got to be a reason that his name has not been mentioned in all the names until the preseason game. But where were these comments and how sick Dean is all training camp? Something to keep an eye on, all right? So, again, not trying to trash the kid. I'm really interested to see what he does the rest of these last two games in preseason and to see if maybe in the rest of our camp, which isn't going to be very long anymore, in the rest of our camp, if there is anything there of them kind of talking like, this kid's actually pretty sick. Because I don't think it's impossible if the Rams keep 4 running backs that Dean Connors is able to jump a Jarquez Hunter. I don't think that's impossible. It's not necessarily my guess right now, but feels real. It feels like Jarquez is kind of fighting for a job right now. He's definitely not a guaranteed lock to be getting reps in the regular season. So Dean Connors could absolutely jump over him, especially if, which he didn't really, especially if he can contribute on special teams. If he were to be able to return or anything like that, or be a gunner, anything like of the sort, definitely way higher stock for you. It's one of those things. Who was the quarterback was talking about that when he was first brought into the league? He was like, I'll play corner for you. I don't care, dude. Put me wherever. Just like, I want to be as useful as possible so that just like, don't give them a reason to cut you. You know, if they're looking for a reason, don't give them an easy one. Like, well, he doesn't really, he's fine, but like whatever. It's like, no, man, I'll be scout team safety for you. I'll do whatever you got to do. I can't remember what quarterback that was saying that. It was pretty recent. But yeah, that's or the conversation was recent, but I imagine that this would have been before 2010, that kind of thing. You don't let a quarterback do that nowadays. Yeah. Next up here, I'm going to go with wide receiver CJ Daniels. Mump did not play, so Daniels did get a lot of action. Daniels did have a few really strong plays in the first game. Looking for more of that. Did seem to have some miscommunications with both Stetson and Ty at different times, but you know what? First preseason game, a rookie. I mean, it's August 19th right now as date of recording, which means that these guys were drafted 4 months ago. We can have some leniency. I promise it will be okay. And also, when you're talking about a guy who is best case scenario, your 5th wide receiver, we're definitely doing just okay. Next up, I'll go with running back Jarquez Hunter. Might be fighting for a roster spot. Just mentioned this. He led the team in carries in the first preseason game, but did not lead the team in yards. So obviously, and I don't think he had any first downs, and I think the others did, Jordan Waters and Dean Connors. But Jarquez Hunter, I'm just not sure if we've been in a situation with Jarquez where it's like, hey man, we kind of need you to explode here a little bit, man, because we got some ballers on this squad right now. Squad full of ballers, baller squad. And that makes it so hard, even for guys like Jarquez, who's been here. You know what I mean? Like he could be losing a spot because it's like, dude, we are absolutely loaded to rise above that and to actually be a guy to make the squad. Like say you are a Dean Connors and to come in and make the squad, you know that you're making such a big impression if you're able to knock off a guy who's been here already and was drafted by the team. You come in as a rookie UDFA and unseat that guy. I mean, that's what it is, though. And that's one of the best parts about football is there's not a lot of the like where you're from, who you are, who you hang out with, stuff like that in football. It's, are you a good player? Can you produce for us? Cool. Everything else is fine then, man. We don't care. Like, and that's the best part about it is it doesn't matter that you were drafted. If there's a guy that's undrafted that's playing better than you, well, guess who's going to get the reps? The guy who's playing better. I don't care about your draft position. I don't care how you got here. You are on the Rams. You guys are both on the Rams, dude. Jarquez and Dean, you guys are both on the Rams. I don't care how you got here, how much money you're making. Who can go make the damn play? Is it Dean? Well, then Jarquez, it's been real. And I know that I feel like my preseason mindset on some of this stuff, I feel like it does come off kind of harsh sometimes that I'm just like, well, whatever. Players come and go. The Rams are forever, man. I'm not a Rams fan. I've been a Rams fan longer than any of these people who've been part of this team. I can tell you that much, including front office. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure many of you guys are the same way. It's like I've outlasted damn near everybody. I remember, watching Billy Devaney try to build a team as a GM in St. Louis and stuff like that, man. Like, it's, yeah, we're out here. Doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter how you got here. Next up, we'll go with tight end Max Clare. 7 grabs last week and looked as good as you could want for a rookie tight end in his first preseason game. That's kind of where I'm at with this one, man. It looked as good as you could get in that kind of situation. We have a 5-man draft class. And we have 2 guys already that are like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And CJ could be in that grouping as well. So we could be already sitting above 50% of hits on our draft class for this one, man. But could see Claire continue to get reps, but I'm feeling like the 5 tight ends could be in play for the Rams. It does feel real that having 5 tight ends on your squad is going to be a thing. And we're talking Tyler Higbee, Davis Allen, we're talking Colby Parkinson. We're talking Terrence Ferguson and Max Clare. Obviously, guys like Redmond, stuff like that, probably not gonna make the squad. Just a very, very tough position to break onto the roster. And Max Clare is even kind of in a tight spot where it's like, we don't really need 5 tight ends, bro. If you can't do it, then that's cool. Like, but it does feel like with the introduction of the 13 personnel and the fact that the Rams did it so much more than any other team by such a margin last year. And like since 2001, like the Rams ran more 13 than any team by like double. Like it's crazy how much 13 they ran and they were very productive out of it. So keeping 5 tight ends does make a lot of sense. That does mean, however, you've got to take away from a different position. And my guess is wide receiver. Next up, wide receiver Xavier Smith played the entire game. And with so many tight ends possible making the roster, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, okay? Do we keep 6 wide receivers if we're going to keep 5 tight ends? That's a lot of bodies, man. That's a lot of bodies. And that would mean if we are going to do that, then we're cutting other places. Then do we need to get rid of a quarterback and just let Ty be QB2? Do we need to get rid of more running backs? Jarquez, Dean, Jordan, you guys are all gone kind of thing. Maybe Ronnie doesn't make the squad. You're looking at offensive line. Do we keep 3 backups? The guys who are versatile and can do a few different things? Maybe. Edge rusher and defensive front entirely. I mean, we're loaded there. We have a lot of guys that it's like, well, we can lose him, but like, should we? Like, Rael Murchison, stuff like that. It's like, well, we don't really need to get rid of these guys, or we really shouldn't get rid of these guys. And in the secondary, you know what the Rams like to load up there as well. So corner, not sure how many we're going to keep there. So yeah, it does become a numbers game. We can keep 53, and you don't get that many active on game day. It's only 45. So it's one of those things where you got to make sure that you're keeping the guys that can't help you. And then also, you know who's actually playing for you on Sundays. Because if you drop somebody to a practice squad, well, now they're less protected. You can get grabbed from other teams and stuff like that. So sometimes you have to put a guy on your 53 because you're like, we really cannot lose this guy. We cannot lose him, but he's not really going to play that much this year. So inactive every week. Not uncommon, not unheard of, especially for the Rams in the way that they handle things. So we'll get into a full roster prediction. We'll do that right before the roster cuts happen. So after that last preseason game against the Chargers, we'll knock that one out pretty quick. We'll do the roster prediction. And then after that does get finalized and I find out where I was wrong and where I blew it and stuff, then I'll do my depth chart prediction, which is a little bit more loose because it's like we technically do have 4 starting tight ends listed on our unofficial depth chart right now. That's a lot of dudes. All right. So, we'll get into all those guesses, though, as we get a little bit more preseason action in us. I'm not going to give you cut predictions and stuff like that right now because I'm not sure if anybody's just locked to be like, this guy's a bummer. We're going to get rid of him. Because I feel like if that's the case, you probably aren't playing in these games anyway. You're at least in a spot where it's like, well, are you fighting for a practice squad spot? Like, do we want to keep you around kind of thing? All of that good business. Let's see here. That's going to do it for our guys to keep your eyeballs on, man. That's what you're watching for this coming Saturday when the Rams take on the Saints coming to town for preseason game number 2. We are leading into that game with joint practices against the Saints. The Saints did a joint practice against the Cowboys too, which I kind of hate because, you know, Sean mentioned it of like, well, if they come in healthy, they do have a joint practice. So like maybe it depends on how their approach they want to be. And I think that that's bogus, man. It feels like we get worse work now, potentially worse work because they wanted to set up a joint practice with another team. I think that if you're going to do joint practices, you should only be allowed to do one team a week. But maybe that's just me being picky. Probably. Whatever. We're going to do your fan quesos. That is headed your way next. It is Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. This is Ram Showcase. My name, Sheriff Joe Bags. We're going to do our fan quesos here. These are your Rams-related questions. You feel free to fire them off to me in any way you see fit. I do make a post for them on the Ram Showcase YouTube channel, also the Ram Showcase Facebook page. If there's somewhere else that you would like this post to be so that you can also participate, let me know. We can certainly manage that. Those are just the only places I've ever gotten response from. So that's why those are the places we send them to. But if you want to fire them off to socials or anything like that, definitely do so. Let's get into our fan quesos here. First few coming from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. What's going on, dude? Welcome back in. Feel like it's been a while since you've been here on fan quesos, but I'm not even mad. Just kidding. All right, says, can't believe I missed the first batch of fan quesos last week. We are so back. Let's go. Yes, Edwin, we are so back. Let's get into it, man. Number 1 says, with the first preseason game out of the way, is there a player that surprised you in their performance? I was hoping that we would see more of CJ Daniels. Yeah, CJ was definitely one of those guys I was very excited to watch in this game. Would have liked to see more, but that's okay. It was just one preseason game. No big deal. But as far as surprise goes, I think, Dean Connors, that was definitely like, oh man, kid's playing good, man. So, and it wasn't just the fact that he scored 2 touchdowns. It was how he did those, you know what I mean? That first play, you have some really good blocks there, stuff like that, but you're powering through and running through arm tackles, which is exactly what you want from a running back. So that's good news. Nick Anderson on the back end, I think did really well. Des Johnson looked to be our best defensive player a lot of the time. So, I would say that's about it as far as surprise goes. I wasn't surprised at Ty. I wasn't surprised at Max, like stuff like that. Surprise would definitely come to those guys who we just really haven't been tracking and had big days. So, which is always good to see. Number 2, when AD comes back, how many sacks do you think our team will have by the end of the season? Give me 73, dude. Give me 73. Let's get that record. Get that record, man. The Rams record is like 54 or something along those lines, but NFL record, I believe, is 72. So yeah, let's break that bad boy. As far as Aaron Donald coming in though, I imagine I feel like double digits, but I don't feel like he like is like 20. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like that would be that range is going to be reserved more for the Myles Garrett situation. So that's where I'm at with that. But I do think he could get like 11 and a half. I think that feels totally real. And if he does, it'd be like, hell yeah, that's sick. So that's where I'm at with it. Number 3. Who do you think will be our DC next year? Because Shula is gone after this season. Very possible that Shula is gone after this season. I suppose if he does a terrible job, and then maybe not. But it does feel like Shula is on his way out at some point here soon. And to see who would replace him, I'm not totally sure right now. I think we do have some really good positional coaches that could be in that conversation. You got like Jimmy Lake, who's doing our secondary now, that I think would be a good one. Giff Smith, who I think is a really good coach, doing our defensive line right now. He helped call the game last week on defense. And then G Money, dude, I think that he would be one that I don't even know if he wants to really break into that. You know what I mean? Me just putting, an entire thought process into his own brain that a person I've never met. So who knows? But G Money could be a good one too. He's working with linebackers. So I think we do have some options there on staff already, but something tells me we would go out of the building. I'm not sure why. Next one here, number 4. Will you still be going to doing the pregame talk / drive to the bar this season? The people need to know, Joe. It says, go Rams, go Joe. Go Edwin. Yes. Short answer. Yes, I'm absolutely doing those. The thing is though, it's so funny that you can see on last year's, as I'm driving in, I drove right by where this apartment is. You can probably see my window from the camera of that one. And I am now just down the street from the bar. It takes me, I was doing so when the Avs were playing in the playoffs, I was sitting here and I got the notification from the score that the game was about to start. It was like 15 minutes till Avs time. And I was like, hell yeah. And I'm standing in my apartment. I was like, all right, time to head to Kelly's. So I grabbed my stuff. I walked down the stairs, got in my car, drove to Kelly's. 5 minutes to go still. Takes me 10 minutes, man. I live on the 3rd floor. So it's like getting all the way in. I got a garage and stuff now. I don't know how I'm going to work with that because I need both hands. It's a manual garage. I have to put you guys down or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure that out. That's probably not, no one cares but me. But it's like so close now that most of the pregame live will be here. It'll be sitting here on it. So, and then I do want to do giveaways this year. I'm looking to try to buy, 17 of something Rams Showcase related so that I can give those away. I'm not giving away any of my cool stuff. This stuff is mine. And it's awesome. So, so I got to try to figure that out. I do want to do something for giveaways. It probably won't be anything big, but there's something to kind of give back and say thank you. It's something that you can represent, your favorite Rams podcast. Just saying. But yeah, that'll be back, man. I'm excited for it. I know for like Thursday night football, that one will be that first opener. That one I'll just be here because I'm watching at home. Got a buddy coming over for that one. And then week 2, Monday night football against the Giants, I'll be at SoFi for that one. So that one will not have one. Week 3 against the Broncos, Sunday night football, also be at that game. Need 2 more tickets if you know anybody. I'll be at that game as well, so probably not going to do one there. But that week between those 2, I don't have anything set in stone right now. But just know we have some really cool stuff that we're planning for that week. I'm off the whole week from work and stuff like that. And we're gonna pepper in some treats for that week as far as just cool Rams content. If you follow multiple Rams content creators, that week is just going to be a bit of a fun one for us, I think. And I think that'll show through. And hopefully you guys have as much fun with that as we do. Cause it's just, I'm excited for it for sure. Let's get into this section of the fan quesos here. So these few here coming from Farbode back in action on the Ram Showcase Facebook page. It says, man, wish Ty didn't overthrow CJ in the end zone like that. Was that? I thought that was Stet. I thought that was the early one. No, it was Stet. I don't know. Not all passes were perfect, which would be insane. That, that doesn't happen. So it says he would have snatched that thing and had a nice AF tutty. Hell yeah. Then Stet Benatar. Yo, shout out, dude. Hell yeah, using that. That's cool. I like that other people are using that now. That's one of my favorite nicknames I think I've ever given to anybody. That's absolutely incredible. Stet Benatar threw that ball behind him on third down, too. Okay, so you are talking about, okay, I gotcha. At least Rams fans saw a glimpse of what he can bring with that one dime by Ty to him on that decent game. Yeah, that was one I was talking about where Ty just let it rip, dude. What a catch by CJ, too. Says, are you expecting to see my guy CJ getting more opportunities this weekend against the Saints? I'm expecting some more targets his way, at least, hopefully. So, yeah, I would say I'm sure he's going to get plenty of action in this one. We're probably still sitting our top 4 guys. It was weird that I do think that he had some miscommunications there, and he didn't have a chance to really show off his like crazy abilities, man. I kind of... My comp for him, I keep going to Brandon Lloyd. And I mean, being in Colorado, I remember his time in Denver. It seemed like Denver fans were the only ones that knew how sick he was. Obviously, he played for the Niners as well. Then it was 2011 he was with the Rams, because that was when we had Josh McDaniels. That's crazy that we had Josh McDaniels for a year. He got rid of Mike Carney, and I was like, what are we doing? And it was like, we don't need him in our offense. And it was like, who's going to get rid of my boy Carney like that, man? He's been blocking for Steven for years. Like, I was so mad, but that's a sidebar. I was getting so sidetracked here. But yeah, CJ, man, I am excited to see him this week and the following week. I think that he's just going to continue to get better. Just reps, man. Just get more comfortable out there. The more reps you get, repetition is the mother of learning, says one awesome guy with hair gel and stuff. So, yeah, just keep that rolling, man. And I'm guessing too, and I didn't mention this earlier. I did mention it on both horns where it's like, we're talking about like, damn, dude, Max Clare looks crazy. Look at how sick he is compared to it's like, oh man, Dean Connors looks crazy. And it's like, yeah, these are also the guys that Ty has been playing closer with all preseason and through training camp and stuff. It's like, Devontae and Puka are catching balls from 9. Like, we got to just let everybody play, you know what I mean? Like, and not everybody gets to take 1 reps with, with the offense. We're so limited these days in training camp and stuff like that. So I imagine that that's part of it, but that connection is good. That's a good thing, especially in preseason when you're just trying to get reps in there. Is that comfort level with backups to backups? It's certainly not a bad thing by any means. Next one here from Farbode says, looks like we just signed wide receiver Alex Bachman, 2 from the Raiders to replace Mario Williams. Do you see that as an upgrade to Mario Williams? Just curious where he fits on our roster. Ooh, honestly, pretty comparable as far as just, I would say pretty straight across. Again, I like I mentioned earlier, I am fully convinced that Bachman was, that the whole transition happened going from like waiving Mario Williams, signing Alex Bachman was simply because we just need bodies for these preseason games. And if Mario Williams is dealing with something, it's going to take him a few weeks to get back. Well, it's like, well, hey, we don't hate you, man, but we need people that can play this weekend. We need people Saturday. So, and like I said, Bachman back around. He's back, man. Smooth. All right. I'm going to end it there because it just feels right. Let's see here. Going over to the YouTube channel. Let me see if there's one I want to end on here. No. No. Hold on. That's a hilarious one. We'll do that one soon. Okay, we're going to end on Rams House's question. That's a cool question. We're going to start here. We're going to Tom. I was trying to read that as some crazy name. It's Tom. Thanks for being here, man. It says, thank you for the content for the Rams. Keep up with the great work. No complaints here, dude. not a question, but I love it. Appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you being here. I would love to know how long you've been watching, because some of these names, it's funny when somebody will finally comment something and they're like, oh, I've watched you since like 2019, or it's like, oh, I started watching in 2017, or like whatever. And I think that's so cool that it's like, well, talk to me, man. What are you doing? I see that there's a bunch of people that hear me, but I only get interacted with, in like a pretty limited capacity. But dude, Tom, thank you for being here, man. If you are going to like Giants game, Chargers game, or not Chargers preseason, Chargers regular season, or the Broncos game up in Denver, that way. It's that way. I don't know what I'm doing. But if you are going to any of those, man, hit me up. Let's give some high fives, dude. We can smash our beers together and stuff. It's cool times. Rams house. Whose house? So if you could just reminisce about that 2021 playoff run for a bit, that would be cool. Memories, favorite plays, etc. Absolutely, man. I think what's crazy about that one is like that Buck, or not the Bucks. That was obviously later, but that Cardinals one, that David Long touchdown was so clean. Just beating the butt cheeks off the Cardinals. Obviously, that's always a good time, man. That next game against the Buccaneers, that was one of those where there was multiple times in that game where it was like, oh, we're about to get Tom Brady'd, man. We are about to get Tom Brady'd so hard, and it didn't happen. They got Stafford. That was terrible. The play before the he's got Cup again is one of my favorites. Just the way that play happened, the way it unfolded, the defender just falling down trying to cover Cooper Kupp, and it's like, yeah, that's about right. 2021 Cooper Kupp was not human. I don't know what he did that year. I don't know what his training regimen looked like. I don't know what sacrifices into what gods he did, but it worked, and it was phenomenal. But that one was the play where it was like, damn. And then to know, too, that the following play was not supposed to be that deep of a ball, and they just saw it and went. And then also you get the comment from Cooper Kupp after, where he talks about that he was just getting annoyed with getting so many questions. Like she just kept asking questions, and eventually he was just like, I'm just gonna overload her. And he's like, yeah, you brought the nickel man, you got the fire zone, didn't see a bet, so it just got to be, that was so funny to me. And then she's just like, okay, thank you, okay. That's so good, because like that's also a little bit risky if the person is like knows exactly what you're saying and is like ask you a follow-up question about that, and then you have to get more in depth. But yeah, that's pretty great. But yeah, man, not a lot of complaints on that one. Fun stuff. That's it's crazy too to think that that we almost got burned on the final play of that season being. Or the what am I trying to say? I'm trying to put words together here. The Tom Brady pass to Mike Evans where he burned Ramsey was like almost the last play or last touchdown of the season against us. It's like, ugh, that would have sucked, man. Cause yeah, that was pretty rough. But then obviously you get the NFC Championship game where we're down 17-7, and it's like my brain just melted. Were we up or down? I've seen that game 20,000 times. What am I talking about? No, we were up, and then they tied it, right? Something like that, man. You get it. I've talked about this game a billion times. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo just freaking, and then Traven Howard. That was the best tackle of Greg Gaines' career, man. Just taking Traven to the ground. He picks it off, and he's just like, Greg Gaines is like, nope. Fastest player in the NFL. Let's go. We're going to move on. I'll just go for too long, man. Next one here from Payo Time. Let's see here. Says, cool sub story for the Rams this offseason has been Bobby Trees and Brian Allen becoming coaches. Could you see either of them being a head coach one day of an NFL team? How well does that speak to the Rams culture that they could come back after playing and coach? I mean, yeah, it's a ton for them to say like, hey, you did so well that we think that you can teach these guys how to be better, So yeah, it's massive to say. I feel like that's a lot of guys who we have. I mean, we talk about these guys as coaches on the field a lot of times, and it's like sometimes it's like, well, now they're a coach on the sideline. It just moved over a little bit, man. But to see either of them becoming a head coach, I'd like to see them at least get a season in first before I'm saying yes or no, because it just doesn't feel appropriate to say like, yeah, totally, man. They're going to be like, Brian Allen could for sure be a head coach one day, when it's like, what if he sucks as a coach, actually? I don't think he will necessarily, but like, what if he doesn't want to be a head coach? What if he's just like, I just want to coach O-lines and then live out my days, bro? Like, so that's always a possibility as well. But yeah, too early to say. Obviously, we don't know how they're going to perform as coaches. And then I'd like to see them as coordinators first anyway. So let's see here. Where was the one I was going to... Yeah. Okay. So Rams house. Whose house? I feel like when people talk about McVay, they only discuss his football intellect and his ability to constantly innovate offenses from an X's and O's perspective. But I feel like McVay's ability to connect to the players, lead a locker room, and know his players personally gets overlooked. It's weird because I believe both aspects of what makes Sean great are equally valuable. Why do you believe most people just talk about the X's and O's mastery? Because he's an NFL head coach. That's certainly, I think that like when we get into that kind of stuff of like, he's so good for the locker room. He's such a player's coach. He really knows his guys and stuff like that. That's in-depth football. You know what I mean? Like that's not your casual fan stuff. And I'm not using casual fan as a derogatory term here. You are absolutely allowed to be a casual fan. That's perfectly fine. But I would say that from this perspective, it really is just most people don't care about how the players get along with the coaches and stuff, or how good of a leader somebody is. It's like, yeah, can he call a game though? Like that's where I think a lot of people feel. So I think that for that kind of stuff, it is for the more hardcore, the people who watch an episode of Rams Showcase going into a preseason game, or even in like, May, late May when nothing's going on and we're talking Rams ball, you know what I mean? That's what that information's for those people, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that I think that people ignore that or anything like that. I just think that the hardcore fans really like that. But overall, your average fan isn't going to care that Sean McVay, controls the locker room real well and stuff like that. I just don't think I think that's just like there's like the fandom iceberg, it's like knowing the play, like the coach's like leadership style is definitely down a few rings. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty low on the iceberg, I think. But like calling a good game, understanding the position, understanding offenses, being an innovator, stuff like that feels like it's just below the surface. Being a coach is what's above, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's our coach. I don't know what he does. You know what I mean? Like there's certain people that are in that world, but I would say that that's exactly what it is, that most people just don't really dive into the personalities of football players. They kind of see them as just football players, stuff like that. We are the ones that dive into the human beings under those helmets and stuff. Next one here from Rams house. Whose house? If Braden Fisk were a candy, what candy would he be? I thought about this one for a little bit. I also feel like you've asked this one before. I might be wrong because I thought of a candy and I was like, when I thought of it, was when I was like, I think that this has been done before, which is lemon heads, the little guys, the little lemon heads. Because I've done warheads before for other people who are small but powerful. And I think that lemon heads just makes a lot of sense for Braden Fisk. But that's what when I thought of lemon heads, I was like, I feel like I've done Braden Fisk before, and I feel like I gave him lemon heads as well. We have to do some research, man. Over here, we'll get the Rams Showcase research team to dig through the archives. That's just me. I just have to go look and see if they. I can probably do a keyword search for candy on my profile, and I'm guessing it's just a list of your questions, though. I'm guessing, you know what I mean? I don't think that there'd be much other stuff in there if I searched candy, so I should be able to find it, I think. We'll find out. Lemonheads. Next one here from Payo Time. What is more annoying this offseason? I'm so curious to see where this goes. I have not read this one yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh, and CG commented and said, you can't blame the substation, so I'm getting... CG's a Niners fan here. Let's see. It says, what's more annoying this offseason? Seahawks fans complaining they are disrespected. That's up there. Niners fans complaining about injuries. definitely up there. Or Cardinals fans complaining about being a Cardinals fan. I have not seen any of those, but I'm sure they're there, you know. Says, thanks, love the show. Love your show, dude. Watch Party is going to be back for Payo, by the way. If you're looking for a second screen experience, maybe a first screen experience, I don't know. Check out Payo time there. But what's more annoying this offseason? Seahawks fans complaining that they're disrespected. And it's like, because they won the Super Bowl and then everybody's talking about the Rams. And it's like, well, yeah. We had a damn good game. Yeah, you beat us. Yeah, that did happen. That is a real thing. I'm not trying to take that away. But it was a damn good game. And everybody kind of agrees that whoever won that game was going to go on and win the Super Bowl. Patriots or Broncos were going to get beat by either team. That feels real. Broncos fans out here disagree. They're like, nah, dude, if Bo Nix was playing, we would have wrecked you guys. Like, all right. Sure, man. But I think, too, it's like, I mean, if you're a Seahawks fan thinking that the Rams didn't put themselves in a position to go all the way this year, I think you're delusional. If you're a Seahawks fan sitting there thinking that, like, we didn't do enough to get better than you, delusional. I mean, you're just not paying attention. You're being a homer. That is just the simple fact. When you add guys like Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Myles Garrett, that is enough to make up for 4 points in an NFC Championship game. You're not going to tell me otherwise. That is enough. That is absolutely enough to maybe prevent that final drive from going all the way down, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, absolutely it's enough. So, yeah, them complaining that they're disrespecting, it's like, well, stop listening to everybody else, dude. Just go celebrate your friggin' Super Bowl. Like, you were always allowed to do that. Why are you looking for other teams' fans to be like, yep, you guys did awesome. Good job, guys. Why would we care, dude? We lost in the NFC Championship game. We're trying to become a better football team, which I think we did. We put ourselves in a position to go win a friggin' Super Bowl. Meanwhile, y'all lost your running back who damn near got you there. And sure, Charbonnet's solid, whatever. But Kenneth Walker was a damn good running back, and probably the reason they made it all the way. One of the reasons, at least, that they made it all the way. Without Kenneth Walker last year, they probably don't make the Super Bowl. So weird thought process to be like, we're just being disrespected. It's like, dude, no one's telling you to not celebrate your Super Bowl win. You could have done that all offseason. Instead, you were just all over Rams pages talking about how, oh, they're scared. They got Myles Garrett. All this to stop Sam Darnold. It's like, aren't you celebrating, man? Like, what? I know after our Super Bowl win, the first thing that I was doing was not looking into our division to just see who's talking about us. I didn't care. I was just celebrating the Rams winning it all. Weird thought process to be like, was that awesome though, guys? Did you guys think we were awesome? Rams fans, was it awesome? And it's like, dude, we don't care. And they're like, we're disrespected. It's like, shut up. We don't care. Why would we care, man, that you guys won the Super Bowl? Like, you guys stopped us from winning the Super Bowl, dude. Like, what? Yeah, so that's for sure. I think that you can tell on how animated I got that is the answer. 49ers fans complain about injuries. I don't know, man. I don't know what you want me to do there. It's a part of the game. It's an unfortunate part of the game, but it does happen. Rams aren't going to be healthy all year. We're going to lose some guys where we look at it and we're like, damn, man, like we're a worse football team this week because this guy's out. It's going to happen. It's not just a contact sport. It's a violent sport. Okay. Next one here, also from Payo Time. What current Rams player could you see becoming a coach one day after playing? This is a cool question. I feel like... Coleman Shelton sticks out to me. I think that he would do well. I think that Trent McDuffie... I think Quentin Lake. That feels about right. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that feels about right to me. Those names there, I think could translate into being coaches. And I'm looking for like personality plus like captain kind of status, you know, kind of just like being a leader of a grouping, and then imparting wisdom on dudes too, which I think that all those guys do. So that's what I would say. I'll go those guys. Let's see here from Kamal. Says favorite guy that you know is going to get cut but root for anyway. Dude, literally everybody. I like all the Rams, man. I'm not a hater of anybody that's here now. Sean Mannion has been gone for years, dude. He's the OC of the Eagles now. He was like the last one that I was like, get this guy out of here, man. Yeah, that's root for it. No, he's gonna get cut anyway. I feel like I don't do this. That's why I'm having a hard time answering it. It's like I do root for all the Rams. I want everybody here to do well. I want those decisions to be really hard. But I also, I don't know. Does that make any sense? Am I making sense right now? Did my energy just drop the hell off? This is crazy. But yeah, it's I'm just trying to pick a name here, honestly, man. I don't got anything right now. Maybe Bill Norton. Sweet mustache. Cool dude. I'll go Bill. Maybe Bill Norton. But yeah, it's one of those where I don't care who makes the roster. I just, as long as we're not making cuts due to money, then I'm fine with whoever the coaches pick. I don't care. I'm here to talk about the guys who do make the squad, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, man, we made the wrong call, man. I like this player, so we made a bad decision. Because I don't have that kind of ego in me to think that I just know way better than everybody else. That's why I like the mock draft stuff. There's so many people that are like, well, I wanted this guy, and we didn't take him. So bad draft, F. It's like, well, who knows, man? Maybe if Ty Simpson's winning like 4 MVPs in a row, maybe that'll be the first time that I actually do receipts. I would have to do some searching because I don't really care about doing that. But yeah, that'd be a fun one. But yeah, it's like the people that think that they know best, And I don't have that kind of ego in me. I'm just here to talk about the Rams, man. Whoever makes the squad makes the squad. I hope whoever does kicks a bunch of butts this year. That's where I'm at. That's the one I'm going to hold for the final here. We got cello player. Shout out, dude. That's hella dope. Any instrument is awesome, especially any strings. Cool as hell. So shout out. Says, do you think the Rams players suffer less from post-terminal stress under Sean McVay versus Jeff Fisher? Yeah, probably, man. I just keep thinking, I think it was Deion Cole. Was that the one? Deion Cole, who got cut for bringing a lady into training camp in 2016. We saw it on Hard Knocks, where Jeff Fisher, and I just I don't know, man. It was crazy to see. It's crazy to watch, that kind of conversation happen, but it just feels like Sean McVay handles it different and better. I don't necessarily want to say that. I don't want to trash Jeff Fisher or anything like that, but he calls in the wide receiver. I want to say it was Deion Cole. That sounds right. But, so he calls him in and he just goes like, what part of the rules didn't you understand? And it's like, I hate that start. I hate that starting, man. It's like, you're dealing with a grown adult. Why are you talking to him like he's 12? Like, I hated it. I really did. But it was also really interesting to see how like a coach does approach a player. And yeah, he was a little frustrated about it. And he's like, we said no guests. We said no guests. You broke the rules. So we're going to cut you. And that part I didn't hate. I don't hate being honest, but I didn't like the, what are we doing? Whoa, what are we thinking? I don't like that. So I just feel like Sean McVay would just handle that entirely different. And I don't know how he cuts people, but it just feels like he would have done it with a little bit more dignity, I guess. Because it did feel like one of those where it's like, all right, well, we're just going to treat this dude like a like a child, I guess. That's cool, man. But yeah, I would say, if that is your question, I would say I think it's way easier for people to handle anything that Sean McVay does over Jeff Fisher. Because not only is Sean McVay more of a people person, I would say, and better at communicating thoughts and emotions and stuff like that, he also wins. And Jeff Fisher didn't. So I think that there's a little part of that too, where it's like, you don't get to talk to players like that when you can't even go above 500, my guy. Like, there's a little bit of that as well, where even as a player, it'd be like, okay. Like, I mean, yeah, getting cut from a bad team is not good, but there's a little bit of me that would be like, all right, yeah, okay, I'm going to try to find somewhere else. But, thanks for the opportunity. Obviously, you don't want to do that as a young guy, because nothing's guaranteed and stuff like that, but I feel like I appropriately answered that one, if it makes sense. They might. Let's see here. Next one here from Muad'Dib. If they sign Connors, will you cut your hair? Crazy question, because I'm not just pounding the table for Dean Connors to make the roster. I don't care who makes the roster. I just want the best running backs to make the squad, so definitely not. Weird question. I'll give you that one. But yeah, I'm not like pounding the table for Dean or anything. I didn't watch Dean play, and it's like, if this guy doesn't make the squad, I'm losing my mind. It was like, yeah, hey, he played well preseason 1, so no. You have a reply here. I'm going to open that. Rams House says, I'll answer for Joe. Clear no. Yeah, obviously not. It would be one of those, I don't know. So I'm not cutting my hair for nothing, dude. But, yeah. Excuse me. Next one here from Porter. Says, hold on. I'm going to translate this a little bit in my head. Okay. I see. Okay. I got it now. I got it. Porter says, oh no, Matthew Stafford got hurt. Who do you trust more and why? Stetson Bennett, he's been in our offense for multiple years and played in at least one game all 4 seasons in his college career. So he played a lot of games. He played like 54 college games and has been in our offense for 4 years now. So definitely him. Oh no, both running backs got hurt. Who do you trust more and why? Probably Ronnie Rivers. Same thing, just experience. He knows our offense better than everybody else, and he's good at pass blocking. Oh no, Adams and Puka got hurt. Now who do you trust? Really any of these guys. I think Witt's fine. Mump I like. Xavier, I'm way higher on than the average fan. Less high than Tuna, but way higher than the average fan. CJ looks fine. He's probably going to develop all right. So he says, if it all happens, our season is over. That's the spirit, Porter. What the hell, man? Next one here from Rams House. Who do you believe is the most overrated player in the NFL? I can give you a few names here, man. Just overrated players in the NFL. Kyler Murray. And in fairness, that's not gonna age well this year, even though I do think it's true. Because Kyler's going to a better team that has a more quarterback-friendly offense. Wouldn't have, considering he's got LaFleur over there now. But he's got a more quarterback-friendly offense, better weapons, on just an all-around better team in Minnesota, and he's just going to look better this year than he probably ever has. I still think he's overrated. I think it's crazy that Tua keeps making rosters. The way that he's played, there's a lot of times where it's like, this is your starter guy? Like, I feel like we got 3 quarterbacks who are better than that. What are we doing out here, you know? Yeah, I'm trying not to just like trash people entirely. I think everybody knows that I think that Brock Purdy is overrated for what he is. He loses Christian McCaffrey and his numbers drop hard, which is not what you want to see when your running back leaves the game. So it's like, I understand if it's like Justin Jefferson leaving the game and it's like, okay, now your quarterback's worse. Like, yeah, okay, fair enough, man. But your outlet, your dump off guy leaves the game and now you have a hard time. I don't know about all that, man. I feel okay with those names. I don't need to just go and list a billion, but yeah, there's those guys there I think are definitely in that conversation for overrated. Yeah. And then the one that I saved here from Rams House to wrap us up here is going to be who's a Rams player you don't think enough people talk about? If you could pick one current and one all-time, that would be sick. I got you, dude. So one current that we do not talk about enough. I think that Quentin Lake is certainly in that conversation. I think that you could do like a Kobe Turner, but he's such a kind of an anomaly as far as his popularity, because like I have people telling me that are not football fans in any capacity, people telling me it's like, oh, I love Kobe Turner. He's so cool. And it's like, how the hell do you know Kobe Turner? And they were like, oh, I watched him on that show, the American Idol one. That's not what it is. Oh man, he was a big gooey guy. I don't know. I don't watch the singing shows usually, and I'm mad because if I would have heard that one, I would probably be like, is that Kobe Turner? Like, I feel like I could have got it, which is annoying that I don't watch those. But yeah, I would say Quentin Lake is certainly way up there. Tyler Higbee. I think Rams fans don't even talk about Tyler Higbee enough. It's kind of funny. I actually mentioned this to Tuna yesterday too. This is not your question, but it is not relevant to it either. It's the fact that Matthew Stafford, like you would think that an LA team who has a MVP winning quarterback, that would just be like the face of the NFL. Brother, he's like the 5th most marketable guy on our own squad. Like that's so crazy to me. I was just thinking about that the other day. It was like, dude, you can like, we've got a bunch of guys more marketable than Matthew Stafford. He's a quarterback for an LA football team, just won MVP of the league. He's not everywhere. I mean, he's on your Old Spice bottles now, but yeah, that's crazy, man. But I would say current. I am going to confidently stick. I've also been trying to think about another one. I'm going to confidently stick with Quentin Lake on players that don't get talked about enough. All time, I mean, I'm going to speak from Joe's experiences, which I was born in 1991, so give me some leniency here for any old heads who happen to be watching and remember some crazy names. But you know what? Just give me Mark Bulger. I think during that entire era, we talk about James Laurinaitis, we talk about Robert Quinn, we talk about Chris Long, when we talk about, Steven Jackson and, these guys on offense that we got it, like Mark Clayton, I feel like gets talk, like Donnie Avery and stuff like that. But I feel like that Mark Bulger was so much better than people gave him credit for. I even saw a comment just like this last weekend. It was like, that said something. It was on Facebook. It was a page that kind of shows old Rams plays and stuff like that. It was a really cool page. But it was Bulger to Donnie Avery, a touchdown pass. And one of the comments was, I still blame Mark Bulger for us being so bad that entire time. And it was like, brother, no, man. Like, are you kidding me? We had Scott Linehan, Steve Spagnuolo, like these guys at coach. And you think that Bulger was our problem? Blatantly not, man. It's like even when we had like Mike Martz, who did a terrible job of just kind of running our roster into the ground, and we had like Joe Vitt do some temping for us for head coaches like that. But it was like, no, man, Bulger was looking awesome. He made a Pro Bowl. He was known as one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. Then we just let his roster fall apart and couldn't get anybody to want to move to St. Louis and play for a bad team to try to help us turn it around. Steven Jackson stayed around, which is absolutely phenomenal, and guys like James Laurinaitis, obviously. And then you start to kind of start to put some stuff together after Bulger when he was out in like Baltimore and stuff like that. What was that, 2010? I think he was in Baltimore. But yeah, it's like still like, and then we kind of start to put together a squad, and it's like, damn, dude, Bulger just got burned this whole time. Like he was just the captain that had to just stay with the sinking ship the whole time, it seemed like. But I think he gets a lot of hate, and I think that he was actually a really, really good quarterback. He's throwing to covered wide receivers with a half a second to try to get rid of the ball. It's so hard to look good in that situation. Don't care really who you are. But yeah, Bulger, I think when he had a good offensive line and some weapons to throw to, I think that we saw early in his starting time, it was like, oh no, Bulger's pretty sick. Was not, the Kurt Warner level, but I think that he definitely was getting it done there. So I love to see it. I love to see it. That's going to be it for your fan quesos. Appreciate you guys dropping all of those for me. Again, make sure you are following along on the Ram Showcase YouTube channel. You can drop your quesos there. Ram Showcase Facebook page. I also share it to my personal Facebook page. That's where we get those questions from Edwin, emphasis on the win. That's where he usually drops those. So definitely drop them, man. I enjoy doing the fan quesos. And per you guys, when I did my 10-year anniversary episode, I asked everybody what their favorite thing of Ram Showcase was, and the overwhelming majority of people said fan quesos. So definitely going to keep those bad boys around forever. That's just part of the show now. It's just how we end every episode. Good stuff. But yeah, make sure you are checking us out on both horns. That's myself and Tuna. We broadcast live multiple times a week. And I don't have like the exact dates and stuff right now. We're trying to coordinate our schedule because I'm probably going to have a second job here soon. And then, so we'll have to do some morning shows and then we'll do the evening shows still, but then like, we're not going to compete with NFL. So Mondays and stuff like that, we'll kind of have to finagle the schedule and see where we're landing. But both horns, that show's really starting to take off. It's doing really well. It's a really fun show. It's super informative. It's goofy. It's silly. You get air horns and stuff like that. So it's just an absolute blast, man. We have a good time on there. We joke a lot. And it's super informative and I think funny. So come and join us, man. That show is so much fun. I'm glad that we were able to start building that bad boy up. So definitely be checking that out here. And then Ram Showcase, we are in regular season mode already. So we are doing weekly episodes all year long now, man. Hopefully we'll go all the way through February. That is the plan. But keep up with us all year as we celebrate what could be a pretty fun LA Rams season. Join me for it, please. It's going to be fun. That is going to do it for me. Make sure you follow on all your favorite social media at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, ramshowcase.com. That is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.